What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm going to be showing you how to make a mansion. This is the 14th installment of Mansion, and this one is made fully out of pale oak. Two things I want to mention here. I haven't uploaded a mansion tutorial in a year, so that's fun. And as I think that would maybe entail, this was made directly after pale oak was added to the game, and it was kind of my test run for pale oak. And I just never recorded it because I never felt like it. Genuinely, that's the only reason. I just never really wanted to. But yeah, it's finally here. It's finally happening. Anyway, that's all. So with that being said, enjoy the tutorial, and I will catch you on the flip side. Here are all the materials you'll be needing for this build. Also, side note, you notice there are no windows on the back and side, except for the one on the back, or sides, I guess. That is intentional. I'll explain that more in the tutorial. If you followed my suburban houses, though, you may or may not have heard me say this before, but yeah, I'll get to it later. Alright, here, and the space beneath this is a 74 by 41. I don't know why that's kind of a satisfying grid to me. Maybe because the three sides are so flat, which is pretty unusual, I feel like, especially now with my builds. The materials you're needing to start off anywhere are as follows. Tough bricks, polished basalt, cobbled deep slate slabs, tripwire hooks. Where are tripwire hooks? There they are. That's... Wait, yes, no, I got it. Never mind. What was I gonna say? Oh, yeah. Pale oak slabs. Stone stairs. Stone blocks. And we're gonna leave it there because we... pretty much all these materials we're gonna use and then immediately get rid of and get all the rest of the stuff that we'll need. Starting from the front left-hand corner of your 74 by 41 grid, cough. If you enter, just a quick side note, this build is not symmetrical. The left side that we're starting with here and the right side that sticks out are not the same length. But anyway, from this corner, you want to start by counting back diagonally right by 1. And on this block, you'll place 2 tough bricks going right. From there, you'll go back diagonally right with a polished basalt facing left to right. And extended right by 6. The center polished basalt you'll place a tripwire hook off of, and then you can extend each polished basalt up by 1. Then extend the left and the rightmost ones up an additional 2. You will need placeholders for this, so I'm just going to use tough bricks. And then you'll connect the top ones together to kind of give you this like slit in the middle. You can fill it with glass or whatever. I actually left it open and just placed an upside down cobbled deep slate slab on each top side, just to give it this nice little arc, but it's up to you. Off of each top polished basalt corner, you'll place an upside down pale oak slab. Those will be more important later. I just feel like it's nice to get those. And I also feel like I want to make it a little bit brighter. Wow, that's the exact time that we're on. That's too bright, actually. I changed my mind. From the furthest right polished basalt, you'll extend forward diagonally right with a tough brick. Right 1. Back by 7. I forgot this in the material list almost. Get out stone buttons. I forgot about them again. Off of this second row of polished basalt, you want to place stone buttons. It's such a minor detail, you just can't see it sometimes. But I think it does make it look a little bit better. I'll leave them, whatever. Then from the right side of this, you can actually bring this tough brick back an additional 1 just because. And then you'll extend right from there by 15. Then forward 3. Forward diagonally right 2. Right 3. Back diagonally right 2. Back 3. Right 1. Then, just as a placeholder, I'll place 3 stone to the right of that, which we're going to keep because you won't see it anyway. And then 2 tough bricks to the right of that. So then extend forward 3. Forward diagonally right 2. Right 3. Back diagonally right 2. Back 3. Then right by 15. Forward by 8. And then right by 11. If you have your grid marked, you should have ended up just kind of in diagonally from that front right corner. One thing I want to mention with the grid space, if you have it marked, the tough bricks from this point, you're just outlining within each corner by a block. I'll give you 3 suggestions here, or 3 different ways of figuring this one out. Again, if you have your grid, there you go. That's easy. If you didn't, you can just bring it back as far as you want until you find the sizing reasonable. I would actually bring these side walls back just a X amount of blocks, and then fill in the back once you're confident with your positioning. The alternative, if you don't have either and you would like the same size as me, is you want to extend each side tough brick back by 38, which is the furthest right and furthest left. Just like so. I won't even count this side because I can just line it up. But I'll give you an extra second. Connect the back tough bricks together, and if you look at it from the left side, you should have a very strange shaped E. Or a cow, if you look at it straight on it. It does kind of... You know where I'm getting it from. You extend each tough brick just up by an additional 1 to make your base 2 rows thick. This is where I'm going to talk about the windows. I don't add windows on these sides and back because, again, I don't want to add a window pattern or anything and then for you to be like, hey, I have a wall here. I don't like that. And then just having to move the window anyway. So I kind of leave a lot of that up to you all when you make the interior. If you're not going to make an interior, you can find just like a random pattern or just place them sporadically. Just make sure they're lined up with the others. But yeah, I know some people don't particularly prefer that I do it that way, but it just... I'm not going to add windows and then you'd be like, oh, I wanted my interior to not work with those windows properly. If I have an interior, obviously that's different, and with modern houses it's different, but with the Suburbans and the mansions, for the most part, that one's an exception. I love that mansion. Anyway, you can actually clear your inventory now. Well, actually, you do need the stone stairs and blocks, so if you already got rid of them, just get them back out real quick. Because what you actually want to do is this row of 3 stone you placed, you can just bring up by an additional row. Extend it back by 1 so it goes kind of inside of the house a row. Alternatively, make this whatever your floor will be in, like the main entrance. Maybe spruce is always... I like spruce as an option. This top row of stone I'll also bring forward just 1 row, and I will extend that left and right by 1 to fill in that space. In front of that, a row of stairs, and then down diagonally forward from that, another row of stairs. And that'll just give you a nice point to, walk up and enter your house. Clear your inventory and get out the following to hold 2 materials: pale oak planks, bone blocks, black stained glass panes, black stained glass blocks, dark oak doors, diorite slabs, and pale oak trapdoors. Yeah. And eventually we'll get rid of 1 thing, and then we'll have just 3 slots, which we'll need the polished blackstone stuff for. I'm going to start by telling you to just place 1 pale oak plank on top of each tough brick, except for the ones either side of the stone. These 2 do not place tough bricks on. Like, I guess behind this row of 5 stone, those ones, because they're special. But every other one you can. And yeah. Hopefully everyone's having a good day or night. Did I say that yet? I don't think I did. For the most part. I don't know. I'm a little confused. Too much video, even though this is the first video I've recorded today. You should have this. I want to focus on what's symmetrical first, just because it'll make our life a little bit easier. The flat rows of pale oak outside of these kind of circular, what will end up being, what is the word for those? I'm just gonna call them towers. These like towers here. You have these flat rows that are kind of the furthest back on this front wall. Ignore the corners, and if you want, you can just bring each corner up with 4 pale oak planks on both sides of this, because those aren't really counted in my math. So, I mean, I could just add 1 to it, but that's too much work. And then you want to go on both sides, in from there with 2 pale oak planks, a bone block facing upward, which all of them will, 2 black stained glass panes, another bone block, 2 pale oak planks, yet another bone block, 2 black stained glass panes, a bone block, shocker, I know, and then 2 pale oak planks will connect you into that inner corner. To keep going, from the front here, I guess these pillars, actually, that we placed, you'll extend forward with also 2 pale oak planks, bone block, and then following this shape, you'll place a black stained glass block, bone block, 2 panes going along the front, bone block, black stained glass here on the corner, bone block, and then you should end with 3 pale oak planks, like so. Before we copy that row, I'm gonna tell you to... We'll leave the garage alone, because that's annoying me. On the right side, though, here from this furthest right pillar, you just want to place, whatever, 8 pale oak planks going forward, it should be. Like so. Then going across the front, you'll place a bone block, 2 panes, bone block, 2 planks, bone block, 2 panes, bone block, and then another plank. Like so. You can then copy all of what you've done 2 more times. And that'll give you windows or something like that. Yeah, the time of day is messing with me. I don't know why. Vibrant Visuals, as great as it is, the like time of day stuff is just really annoying. Because it's either too bright or too dark. Can't really find that happy medium. I guess I don't have night vision, so that doesn't really help. I might throw on night vision after this step. That's probably my issue. But I like to have it off a lot of the time to actually show the lighting better. But then I forget to turn it back off whenever I want to do that, so I just like, I end up leaving it off sometimes for that. I don't know, can't really win. Like so, and let me give myself some night vision, and hopefully that'll make your viewing experience a little better. That didn't change a single thing, wow. No wonder I forget I have it on. You'll then place an additional row of pale oak planks on top of everything that you've done pretty much so far on, you know, the taller portions. Just like, again, ignore the garage, we'll get there eventually, but I'm not worried about it yet. On specifically these little, like, pillars, you basically want to copy those bottom 5 rows of the wall again. So what you're doing is placing an additional row of pale oak plank on these. It's really just these rows of 4 and the diagonals that connect them. And then you want to copy the windows, which are the 3 rows. You can kind of just look down and see. And then you'd want another row of pale oak on top. So it should look like this, essentially, as far as the height. And yeah. These are a little weird looking, I can't even lie. So I do apologize if you don't prefer them. It's because of the way I did the tops of them, because they have 2 block centers, and I ended up doing that for the windows. It throws it off a little bit, but I still think it could look worse. That's a door. Could also look better, but I guess that goes for most things I have done. There's always room for improvement. Doesn't mean it's bad. Maybe I'm just critical, but who knows. You should end up with this anyway. The next thing we're going to do is a bit strange, but you're going to have to... follow along for now. You're going to take the outer row of 4 pale oak on either pillar and extend, I'll just say the top, like, we'll just go top 5 to make it easy. You'll go back diagonally in by 2 rows, like so. You can technically connect it all the way around if you want, but I'm not going to do that because it's just going to cut that off, and you know, we've got a wall that goes behind that, which we'll get to later. Next up, we can focus on the middle between these pillars. So if you take the 2 tough bricks that I told you specifically to not place pale oak on, these guys, you want to extend either of them up with 6 bone blocks. And then just 4 pale oak planks should make it the same height as the pillars. Between those bottom pale oak planks, you'll place bone blocks that face left to right. These are the only ones, I think, in the entire build that face left to right. So, yeah. And then on top of those bone blocks, you'll place pale oak planks, just 1 row. Going left to right or right to left on top of this row of 3, doesn't matter. You'll place a plank, pane, plank. And then another row of planks on the tippy top. The area, like, well, actually, before we do that, off of each side of this pane, you kind of want a pale oak trapdoor that'll almost make a circle. So the block below it, I'm going to place a pale oak trapdoor off the top half of. The block above the pane, it'll be on the bottom half. Block to the left of it, it'll be on the, I guess I'll just say the bottom, open to the right. And then the right, it'll be open to the left. And it should kind of give you this. If you don't like the way that looks, you can remove the trapdoors. You can remove the window entirely, actually. I just thought it needed a little something there. Because the entrance is kind of tall, as you can maybe see. Maybe it's obvious, who knows. Now the area within these bone blocks, a block back, you want to fill in with black stained glass. Except for the bottom center, you do want to place a dark oak door. So it should look like this. In either top corner, you're placing an upside down diorite slab over the glass. And then count to the, I'm going to say the 3rd row of glass down or the 2nd row above the door and place a row of upside down diorite slabs going across. And now you have a face on your door for some reason. The moon does not help being directly in the center there. But anyway. Next up, what do I want to do? Get rid of everything but your pale oak planks, bone blocks, and black stained glass panes. And get out polished blackstone stairs, polished blackstone blocks, or bricks, I guess, not blocks, sorry. And polished blackstone brick stairs. You should have gotten brick stairs as well, or brick slabs and brick stairs, oh my goodness. So you want polished blackstone brick stairs, polished blackstone brick blocks, polished blackstone brick slabs. Sorry, I don't know why that was so hard for me to just say. But either way. You should have all of that or whatever. What you can do is we can kind of fill up the garage walls now. What I'm going to tell you is bring the pale oak planks on the sides of the garage up by 4, which I'm just going to do these 2 rows left and right along with going back on the right side. I'm not really worried about filling in the sidewalls yet because they're not important until later. But you'll then connect the a row of pale oak planks that is just, it should sit directly on top of the polished basalt like so. I am struggling to speak again. I don't know why this is always happening. Above the center of the garage door, you're going to extend up with 2 black stained glass panes, and you'll have it bone blocks both left and right of that. And then the rest of the space is just pale oak planks. What you can do now is, this is where it gets a little bit weird. I'm going to tell you to now place 5 rows of pale oak, I guess 4 additional rows of pale oak planks on the left, back, and right. And that'll, I guess, be the bottom floor done. The top floor is where this house gets, or mansion, I guess, gets a little bit strange. But just trust the process and we'll get there. That's the thing with these houses now. Because I've done so many, a lot of the, like, I guess not mansions necessarily, but with other ones, the more that I build, the more I'm going to experiment with doing some strange things and just trying different designs. So sometimes it turns out, sometimes it doesn't, but it's the risk I'm willing to take. What you can do then is a row above the pale oak planks, at least for this lower level, you want to just wrap a row of polished blackstone brick stairs all the way around. You want to make sure you don't go in front of the pillars or this like center section between the pillars. You kind of just want to go around the edges of everything else. If that makes sense. And then this is where things really are going to get annoying, I think. So, bear with me. There's a lot going on with this house. Good and bad, I guess. You should have this. One thing I'm going to tell you to just keep an eye out is with these windows, like this one above the garage, you will probably want to just pop a pale oak plank on top of the panes just so it looks a little bit better. You could use polished blackstone bricks if you'd like, but it's up to you. Next thing I'm going to tell you to do is on the right side over top this furthest right section, you want to place a pale oak plank on top of the center 4 planks. So I'm just going to kind of place 4 and I'll see, yeah, okay, I have this row of 4. There's 4 to the right and 4 to the left, so that's good. On top of the left and the rightmost planks, you'll extend up with 3 bone blocks, and then you'll have black stained glass panes between them. On top of specifically the panes, you want bone blocks facing left to right. We'll focus more on that later, but you can actually mirror that on the back wall if you'd like. The way I'm going to tell you to do this, because we don't have the center, obviously, we can use, just make sure you have that gap of 4 off the right side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 planks extending across. Bone blocks, panes, whatever, and yeah. They should line up. You'll know if they're off later, trust me. It'll be fairly obvious, I think. Next thing on our to-do list is the rows of polished blackstone brick stairs. I'm specifically looking at these rows here, just like above the, I guess, walls that are just outside the pillars. You want to extend these polished blackstone brick stairs up diagonally back with 3 additional rows of stairs. And they should go to the back of the, like, kind of marker we made for these pillars here. And I would actually just bring it across to connect into the rows as well, like so. You kind of see what I mean. You're just tucking into this back corner. And I'll only bring this to, I'll just say the corner for now, because, yeah, technically you'll have to go further for some rows, but I'm just going to go directly. Well, I guess you'll have to go further than that for all of them, but I'll just go to the corner for simplicity's sake. And again, I'll do 1, 2, and 3. I'm placing it from up here because I can kind of get a gauge for where it needs to be. It's definitely not the recommended way, but it's my way. Nice. Behind the topmost row of stairs, you'll place a row of pale oak planks that just goes... Again, I'll just go the length of the row for now. You might have to go further, it might have to be shorter. I couldn't tell you just yet. Then, on both sides, you want to, again, make sure you are all the way in the corner here, like behind this stair, this lone stair here that's tucked in. You'll go across with 4 pale oak planks. Then a bone block. Again, it should face up. 2 panes. Bone block, 2 pale oak planks, bone block, 2 panes, bone block, and then you should end with 2 pale oak planks. And with the math that I did, you actually end on the end of that row, which is perfect. Not what I was intending, nor what I expected, but it works. You can then copy that row 2 more times. Just make sure you don't go into the pillars or anything, since I know that is the same height as at least that first row. But it's just this flat portion of the wall that you're filling up. And then you'll place another row of planks on top of those walls. Just like so. You technically don't have to do this now, but I just like to get it out of the way. I'm going to take each of those rows of 5 pale oak planks and just extend them back until they're in line with the back wall, and I can just connect down to it from at least that back block. If we need to add more later, we always can, but I think for at least like that back kind of this weird under portion, you will need a little more, but again, I won't worry about it just yet. I'm just trying to get all the walls marked, and that's about all that I care about. So like 3 missing blocks will be a later problem. And then I will also connect across the back with more pale oak planks between these two. And it should be flush with the bottom wall, but a row within the stairs, because that's where the stairs should be placed outside. I guess over the grid, actually. Guess that would be the case. Anyway. Oh, come on. There you go. The height that we have these stairs at for now, at least on the left side, you can just kind of wrap it around over top of the garage and just go around in the, I guess, shape that we have. And again, you'll go across the front, down the back, or down the left rather. And then once you hit the back, you'll just go across and you'll run into this wall. And yeah, you'll need to add one more pale oak plank here, of course, on the underside, just so the stairs can connect into them. But yeah, not a ton of rows. It should be you're adding 3 rows of stairs? So you have 4 in total? Let me confirm that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, that is correct. I felt like I was wrong. I don't know why. Just like mentally, it seemed like it was wrong. But I don't know how it would have been since I knew that was lined up right. Anyway. Then up diagonally in from that, just to kind of fill in the top, you'll use polished blackstone brick slabs. Right side's a little more annoying. When I say a little, I mean a lot. It's real annoying. That's what I get for adding a window, I guess. Yeah, there's that side. If you want to add a window on that side too, you can. It definitely looks like you could use one. I just didn't because I tried to keep them with the 2 block centers. Anyway, for this window on the right side, you can do this for both the front and back. You just want to place polished blackstone brick stairs, kind of making a, like, triangle on top, I guess. So I'm going to place stairs outside of the top bone blocks here on these rows of 3, along with outside of this top row of 2, and then just on top of that row itself. And it should give you this. I'll extend them forward an additional row, and then place upside down stairs kind of on the inside, like so. And again, I'll do the same to the back one. And then overhang on the back this time. Alright. Like so. And then you're pretty much doing the same thing. You're wrapping the polished blackstone brick stairs around. Only thing is you're making sure that you're considering that peak there. So basically, this first row isn't really crazy. You're just, again, skipping over that window for now. Let's say the third row is where it really gets complicated. And then again, you'll just need one more pale oak plank kind of here on the inside on the actual side wall. And when you bring the next row of stairs, you will need a pale oak plank just kind of tucked behind these bone blocks, just to make sure that it's actually kind of cut off. And that it doesn't just go through the window, I guess. Because that wouldn't be ideal. And then for the next row, when you wrap it around, it'll just kind of connect. Basically, you would bring the roof peak here just back on these sides until it would connect into those stairs. And you're just making sure that you're following the same rough shape like this. I thought that, like, curved the wrong way. I got so confused for a second. And then, is that the final row? I think so. Yeah. And then from this point, the top 2 rows of the peak, you're just extending these stairs just front to back like this. They're just connecting perfectly. The top roof should be easier. I mean, we have these peaks going on again, but the annoying one will be the center, I think. But from this point, you'll then just fill in the rest of the top of this in with these slabs again, like we did it on the other side. That's really all the asymmetry in the build. Everything else is symmetrical, which makes my life a little bit easier. I do enjoy the symmetrical things. More so when they're reasonably sized. Like, I'm just thinking about the atrium. That was not fun with the symmetry. Flying 200 blocks across. Anyway. Should have this. For that lower, like, center area, this will be very strange. You want to just kind of place polished blackstone brick stairs going around this whole Mickey Mouse ear shape. We'll go with that one. Make sure that they kind of go logically. So I'll just place a stair here facing left, and they want to all connect and stuff. I guess that's really the one thing you should consider. And also, again, you see how I have this back one facing into the wall as well. I just think that is a little bit better to do. But yeah, it's a row above the top row of Pale Oak. If I didn't mention that, I think I did. I hope I did. That is kind of important. And yeah. Just like, I'm actually going to start from this corner because I'll mess up the stair direction if I don't. Just like, not that. So. The center is probably the easier part, but even then it doesn't really make sense. So we're going to leave it, I think. What you can do is, from each of the rows of 4 Pale Oaks, I'll just extend each one directly up with 2 rows of polished blackstone bricks. Which includes the right side here, I guess the inner side. That like kind of corner of Pale Oak where it'll go across for the entrance. And if you also want, might not be a bad idea, this like lone diagonal of Pale Oak at the far back, you'll place polished blackstone bricks on top of and extend it in by 3. And that will give you the kind of sort of full dome. You can see what it, or how it's forming. Either end of those rows of 4 you'll bring up with a slab, and the center 2 you'll bring up with blocks. Which should give you this. You'll diagonally connect, I guess, both the bottom blocks here and these slabs together with polished blackstone bricks, just on these corners. And now you can kind of see how these are tower dome shape, something like that. Did I not do that? No, I did it too long. That's why. You could connect the bottom blocks, I guess, if you wanted. Doesn't really matter. I only worried about the top blocks themselves. You'll then extend these, I'll just say these slabs really in with a block, and then those blocks you'll extend up an additional 1. These will get easier as we get further up because they get smaller, which is nice. Splice it off of these corners because, I don't know, I find that easier to do. I'll then connect those blocks together and then place slabs on those center 2 like this. So, kind of just almost mirroring the bottom. It's a little bit inverted, I guess. Because you would have slabs on the side on the bottom and then blocks in the center, but you have blocks on the side, slabs in the center here. So it's a half a block, I guess, off. You'll then, inside of those slabs, place more blocks and connect them on the corners, which will give you a 4x4 square. Like so. Slab on each corner, blocks on the centers of the rows. And then I'll go up diagonally in from the top there with blocks to seal it off. And you can do like the funny little stairs where they face like this. I didn't because I thought that it was weird to have one singular set of stairs when everything else in this is blocks and slabs other than the base. So I just place slabs on top. But play around with it, decide what you think looks better. And there you go. Doesn't look that bad from the bottom. I think when you start to examine like the little details on them, they definitely look a little strange, but from this center row of stairs here above the entrance, the center three you'll place pale oak planks behind. On top of the left and right, you'll place 2 bone blocks with panes in the center. And I'm going to place a sideways bone block on top of the pane again. That one's a little different. Because you'll place a slab on top of that bone block, stairs off the sides of it, and then stairs off the sides of these bone blocks as well. And then when you bring them forward, like you did before, you'll place the opposite on stairs between these 2 stairs and then the block below the slab. So you kind of can't see that bone block other than from the underside. But, yeah. What I'm going to recommend you do is, just off these sides of these bottom bone blocks, I'm going to place polished blackstone brick stairs facing forward. Then if I take the top here, I have these 2 stairs going back. I'm going to extend 1 more back, and then I'll connect out into this block on the little side pillars. And then for the next row, I'll go back until I'm 1 further back, and then you'll end up going out. And this row actually will go all the way out, and you can just go until you're 1 further than this flat wall of pale oak. And that's really the marker that I just wanted to get. Because, yeah, so many different roof heights going on, which always is confusing, but hopefully it's been easy enough to follow so far. Between the 2 windows on the left and the right here, you want to bring the rows with these inner bone blocks along with the pale oak between them, just that, you know, those 4 blocks up with pale oak planks. It might not be a bad idea to look from the kind of outside here, or inside rather. One other thing I am noticing is this top row of pale oak planks you're going to have to bring in by 1. Just for this little gap, because that guy's sneaky in there. Those gaps will get you. Same thing as the lower window above the right side over there. You're bringing the side pale oak planks up with 3 bone blocks, and then you'll have the 2x3 of panes in the center. Sideways bone blocks on top of the top panes, and then you'll have the stairs again where they're off these sides of the like top bone blocks of the rows of 3, and then just surrounding the top 2 here, and then you'll extend them forward, opposite on stairs below, and then you'll do that on both sides again. This is where it gets easy, thankfully. Slightly easy, I guess. Oh my goodness, just place the blocks every... Okay, really? What I'm gonna do now is finish wrapping this row of polished blackstone brick stairs just around the entire top floor. And then we can fill in the final roof. So from that row of stairs, you want to go up diagonally in with stairs 5 times. So I'll take a random block like close to the center here, and I'll just mark it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this 5th one should be in line with the like top of these side ones here. And yeah, only thing I will mention is, again, you're doing the same thing where you're just making sure that you're dealing with these properly. I'll just kind of show you really how you're supposed to do specifically this little segment. So I'll place that pale oak plank behind the center bone block like we needed before. I'll wrap these stairs around. And then for the row above, again, you'll end up starting to have to bring this peak back to connect into everything else. And then really that peak is just kind of following the shape. And what you can actually do for the top row is I'm just going to bring these stairs straight across. Bring these ones back, and then you will have to change one of these to face the same direction as the row, so the stairs just don't try to go straight across like that, like this. Just one facing, I'll say the right one facing right. Only other thing is this center kind of lower peak. You'll just have to bring the slabs back by 2. And yeah. Again, make sure there's no gaps while you're doing this. There really shouldn't be, since these roofs aren't like the normal ones where they just go across in one direction and then have the sides open. But there are some weird corners and things where there could be potential openings. So just keep an eye out for those. But yeah. Only other thing I'll say, if you don't feel like watching the end of this, is the top will have to be filled in with polished blackstone bricks. So, you know, it's hopefully easy enough. No slabs this time. But yeah. Let me know if you guys have any fun tutorial suggestions, as per usual. I've been not building a lot of that stuff right now, frankly. I've been working... FNAF World was a lot of my work for a while, but I haven't even been doing a ton of Minecraft stuff. I've been working on Refresh sometimes, but it's mainly been PPT 3 has been getting a lot of my time, now that FNAF World is, for the most part, done. I do have to still do the Halloween update and stuff, but I'm not worried about that until the tutorial for FNAF World gets started. Wow, that was 40 minutes. That's crazy. I forgot to, like, I didn't check the time for this tutorial a single time throughout this video until now. And I just see it's been 40 minutes, so it's impressive. Not too bad, actually. And then just again, in line with the top stairs, we'll fill in this giant rectangle you have left with polished blackstone bricks. I'm just gonna do it with a command. But yeah. Normally I feel like these mansions are like closer to an hour, but I guess this one wasn't too complicated. Anyway, once you're done that, ladies and gentlemen, that is your 13th mansion complete. Really, I think this is my analysis on Pale Oak from this particular build. It's not great. You can use it and it can still look good. I just think you have to have the right blocks for that, and I don't know if Bone Block was that block, but I mean, it worked nicely as an accent. I think the tough bricks and polished blackstone bricks look great. But overall, this mansion definitely isn't my favorite. Again, that one right there, that one's got to be my favorite I've done. It feels so evil. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, have a fantastic rest of your day or night, and I will see you on the next one. I better have my emoji good. Bye.